Hi there, this is Simone. Today I would like to share and compare these three Sailor pens. All of them have a medium fine nib and all of them are inked with the same ink. And I would like to share writing samples and just general introductions of all three of those pens to you so that you can see what the differences of each pen are. I'm filming this right now because I am trying to figure out if I'm keeping all three of them, if I'm keeping one of them, if I'm keeping two of them, or if I'm keeping none of them. So let me start by telling you how these pens came into my life. The first pen that came into my life is this Sailor Autumn Sky. This is a Pro Gear Slim. A viewer sent this to me and she said that she hated this pen. It did not write well at all. It was super scratchy. I have used this since July. You can see here that there is some marks from posting the pen. It's a beautiful color. It has this yellow gold. In comparison to this gold, you can see this one is a lot lighter. I would call this white gold, this yellow gold. It has a 14K medium fine nib. It's a smaller nib, or smaller compared to the Pro Gear size nib. I'm just going to show this to you right now, but I'm going to talk about this a little bit more later on. And it came to me in July, end of July 2023. It was already inked with an ink, and I suppose it was J. Herbin Rouge Caroubier. It was very, very dry, super scratchy. What is that? Diameter of the grip section is 9.81, between 9.81 and 10.53. Let me check what I wrote into my fountain pen logbook. All right, Schon Sailor. I put it at 10.74. So I usually measure those at where I hold the pen, and because this is such a tiny pen, I hold it further back. So I measured it around here. The length of the pen is capped. It is 12.3. Uncapped, it is 11.1 centimeters, and posted, which is the way that I would use this pen, it is 14.4 centimeters. With a cap, doesn't matter if it's capped or posted, it weighs 20 grams, and without a cap, it weighs 13 grams. So that's the data of the pen. Since I started this notebook, I haven't used the pen, and I just started it in October of 2023, just to be for you to be aware. So I tested it with the ink that it was inked in. I compared it to the bottle that she sent, and it was clear that this was J. Herbin Rouge Caroubier. Then I inked it with Waterman Serenity Blue just to get a feel for it. It was still quite scratchy. And I have recently found that Platinum Carbon Black is quite a wet ink. So I wanted to see if writing with that ink would make a difference to Waterman Serenity Blue, and yes, it did. In August, I took this pen with me to the San Francisco Pen Show and had Kirk Spear of Pen Realm tune this for me. And let me see. And so here is a comparison of the writing sample with untuned. And here it is with the same ink. I dipped it in, so maybe it was a little bit more saturated, tuned, smoothed, and wetter. So he made it smoother and wetter. I have used this pen again in September during 30 inks 30 days, and I used it on day 24, and I filled it with papier plume, red beans and rice. I did not enjoy this experience. It was okay on Tomoe River paper, but on the paper that the 52 GSM, but I did a transcription project on 68 GSM Tomoe River paper, and it felt super dry, even with it being tuned. This pen is the Sailor Pro Gear in classic orange. This pen was loaned to me by a friend when I met her at the San Francisco Pen Show. This one also has a medium fine nib. However, this one has a 21 karat gold medium fine nib. So the difference between these two pens, besides the different nib sizes, is also the gold content in both of those pens. I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy this or not. Before I used this Sailor, I was very hesitant to even try Sailor pens because I had heard that they were very scratchy is not the right word. They were very feedbacky, and it would feel a lot different than, for instance, the Pilot pens that I love. So, where is the book? Here is the writing sample. I dipped it in, and I enjoyed writing with this pen immediately. So then, because San Francisco Pen Show happened at the end of August, I decided to ink this up during 30 inks 30 days. I used it on the very last day. I filled it with KWZ Honey, and because I was really afraid of a bad experience on the very last day, I also filled a Franklin Christoph pen with a medium nib with this ink. The finer lines are this pen. The bolder lines are the Franklin Christoph medium nib. This writing experience was vastly different from the writing experience with this pen. So I've been wondering ever since, what exactly makes this different? Is it the gold content of the nib? Is it the size of the nib? It could have been the ink that was in this pen and not in this pen. I have found that KWZ Honey is an extremely wet ink, and so that might have tweaked the writing experience to be so much better than it could have been with a different ink. But I realized again that first impressions totally matter, to me at least. So every time I have a good writing experience with a pen, I feel very drawn to the pen. Every time I don't have a good writing experience, I don't. That's pretty usual, I would assume. However, the problem with this pen was not so much the writing experience, the wetness of the ink, nothing. The problem with this pen was then that KWZ inks are scented. Most of them have a vanilla scent. If I'm not mistaken, has something to do with their making the ink last longer, antifungal thingies. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I could not use this pen without the vanilla scent, and it was so overpowering that I did not enjoy writing with it. So I emptied it out and filled it with a very similar ink in color, Diamine Brandy Snap, and I still enjoy how this pen writes. It has a very interesting bounce to it that makes this just different than any other nibs I have used and any other nibs I have in my collection. The The shading of this ink is amazing and I'm super in love. And of course, now I'm measuring all of the pens, the Sailor pens that I have, to this pen. Now let's talk about this pen. This was a super great deal on Amazon in the beginning of October. I got it for a great price. And what drew me to this pen was the fact that this also has a 21K medium fine nib. So my thought was that maybe this would write exactly like this. And because I got it at such a great price, I would then just return this to its original owner and use this one. Okay, it came in, and unfortunately, that was totally not the case. I had super high expectations of this pen, which is amazing. I love, I mean, these are super cute, for sure. This one is probably, if I look at all of those, this one is the one that is the least impressive of those. This one is amazing. It has a matte finish that looks just stunning. The gold looks different. It's not the yellow gold, it's the white gold. Makes it look even more elegant and just special. It has a two-toned gold nib instead of a just, you know, one color gold nib. The finials are this amber see-through color, and I looked at it earlier. It has these tiny specks of sparkle inside. This pen is just stunning in its appearance. So I inked it up. I decided to go with Waterman Tender Purple because I thought a tiny bit matchy-matchy doesn't hurt. And, well, disappointment all over. I think there is totally nothing wrong with this pen, but it did not perform as I was hoping. There is so much bounce and personality in this pen that this one doesn't have. It works great. It works like it should. This ink in this pen is nice, has a nice flow. It's wet. There is some shading happening. This is when it was almost empty. However, it feels just so much stiffer than this one. And so before I am making the final decision and maybe decide to sell it, I also promised this pen to send to a friend so she could test the nib width. I decided, why don't I just show you how these pens write, how these nibs write, so that you have the same experience as I in seeing the difference of these nibs. And if you've ever wondered what is the difference between a 14K Sailor Pro Gear Slim nib and a 21K Sailor Pro Gear Slim nib, or what is the difference between the two nibs, 21K nibs on the Pro Gear Slim and the Pro Gear, I could show that to you today. So when I unboxed or opened up the Autumn Drizzle, I dipped it in Waterman Serenity Blue, and here's what I wrote. 21K gold nib, stiff as fuck. Is it worth keeping it in my collection? I have no idea, but it feels more smooth than the other Pro Gear Slim, which is this one. 14K gold nib, this is wetter, or at least that's what it feels like, but then again, this was tuned by Kirk Spear. Now I'm wondering if I should have canceled the order. So that's where I started with this. And then I wrote, this is the Pro Gear, so much more bounce. Originally, I thought I was going to unink this pen and then ink all of them with Waterman Serenity Blue. But because I really love how this pen ink shades in this pen, I thought, well, I could also just ink both of those up with Brandy Snap and then do a comparison of these pens here. I think I'm going to write in this notebook, or should I do it in this one? Maybe I'll do it in both. But I have no idea how these write. I just inked them up. I'm going to start with the 14K and then work my way up to the Pro Gear with the 21K. All right, so this is the Sailor, maybe Pro Gear Slim. The funny thing about these pens too is that this one is Autumn Sky. And this is a medium fine nib. And I'm just going to write under the pen testing. I want to see how the line variation and the ink variation is with all of those pens. So I'm just going to use this one now. This one is called Autumn Drizzle. Isn't that like just, I feel like they are meant to be together somehow. And then this one is the Sailor Pro Gear. Wow, I can't even write. Slim. Autumn Drizzle. Medium fine. 21K. Do you see a difference? I feel like this is maybe wetter now. I don't know. But when I write with it at 14K. So both are the same nib size. I will then go on and do some other tests too. And then this one is the 21K. Look at how this is different. Sailor Pro Gear Classic Orange. And this is also a medium fine nib. Okay, so let's try and do the same strokes. I'm confusing myself. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to have 3 sections next to each other. Do I need... Okay. This is downstrokes. These are the side strokes. These are the upstrokes. And these are the other way strokes. Looks good. Let's see how this works. These are the downstrokes. These are the side strokes. These are the upstrokes. It's so interesting. When I do upstrokes, many pens do not do well with upstrokes. This one does better than this one. So I'll do 14K here. And I'll do PGS 21K. And then alrighty, so let me see figure 8s and let me see how these work with this pen. So if I'm going down, this is the bounds that it gives me. And then let me write the quick brown fox then we'll try the Autumn Drizzle. I do think that it does have a little bit more spring. It definitely writes wetter than this. These are all inked, they are not dipped. Jumps over the, now I wrote 4 words, lazy, I guess I have to start writing with this sentence again. And then we'll do this one. So I do actually think, okay. Can you see the line variation here? It's more springy. The shading is much more prevalent. There's shading too, but this one doesn't really shows a lot of shading. Lazy dog. The quick brown. It's interesting. I do think that there might be some misaligned tines here because it's scratchy in one direction. So this definitely isn't perfect. But yeah, that's how these 3 pens perform. And I am here now, sitting here. This one is not mine. These 2 are mine now. The interesting thing is when I'm writing with these pens is that I'm drawn most to this one. This one feels like it has a personality. These 2 feel like fountain pens to me. And so I'm considering none of these are bad pens for sure, like to be completely clear. None of these have performed extremely badly. Nothing is inherently wrong with these pens. But as I am trying to figure out which pens are supposed to be in my collection, why I love them, what makes them unique, these are some things that I'm looking at. So I have 3 pens with the very same nib size. What makes them unique? And the only one that is uniquer than the others is this one. This has a super nice line variation. It has great shading with lighter inks. Well, I will figure out how this performs with darker inks too. I assume that Diamine Brandy Snap is definitely on the wetter side of inks. But now I'm wondering what makes these 2 pens unique enough so that I can justify having these 2 pens with the same nib width in my collection. I'm currently leaning towards letting them go and finding them a home that will appreciate them more than I can. As I said again, there is nothing wrong with these pens. These write amazingly well. They're great pens. They look beautiful, each one in their own right. The only problem that I have is keeping them fuzz free. But the question is, are they going to stay in my collection? Are they going to enrich somebody else's collection, or are they going to stay in mine? Let me compare the grip size of these pens. Oh, I did not. Haha, I'm just kidding because this one is not my pen. I didn't make a thing for it. So I guess what I do need is a ruler. I don't have a scale right here, so I'll have to grab that in a second. But let's just measure on, wow, 0 would be the right thing here. So if I measure it right underneath this fold here, 10.67 millimeters. And then if I measure it right here, it's 11.53. Okay, what was the other one? P. 10.74. So what was this one? 11 point, if I go all the way back, 11.44. But where do I personally grip it? Right in between here, so maybe right here. That would make this pen 11.45. Okay, so let's check length. For me, I feel like this is almost too short, so I would prefer this pen to be posted. It is still very well balanced. So if I just have it in here and balance it on my middle finger, it doesn't fall back. It's quite well balanced here. So the length of the pen is 12.7. Unposted, uncapped, it is 11.6. And posted, it is 15. And compared to 12.3, 11.1, and 14.4. So this is just that tad bit bigger. Let's put this right here and then take this one. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I need a rag right here. So if I put this in here, I would not feel comfortable writing with this pen unposted. Because this is a smaller nib, I tend to grip it further back. I enjoy having that distance. And also if I put my hands down, in order for not to like fall all the way up here and have a high writing angle, if I want a lower writing angle, I will have to grip this pen further back. Posting this looks like this. It still looks okay in my hand, maybe a tiny bit small. But again, I grip it right here where the threads are. The threads are not obtrusive at all. It gradually tapers out. There is no big step down. Even here, this is like very minor. Negligible, is that how you say it? Here is how the grip sections compare. And then let's just put this right here. So if I put the nib tips on the same height, it's not that much smaller or closer, like tinier. Let's put this on this line here. It's just that smidgen that makes this more uncomfortable for me. And there we are. So if I use this pen, my hand always feels kind of cramped. And I can write with this for about 3/4 of a page until I feel like discomfort in my writing. With this one, it is much longer because of the bigger grip section. And so that definitely also, for me, plays into account of what makes this pen so unique that I am willing to have an more unpleasant writing experience than with, for instance, this one or any other pen in my collection. And for me, I can't find anything that would justify keeping these pens. So again, I'm not dissing these pens. These are amazing pens, very, very great writers. The ink flow, as you can see, is super lovely. They just don't seem to be the right pens for me. So if I'm choosing between any of those, even though this is probably my most favorite design, I will go for this one. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if you want to see more of those. I actually don't really have any other pens, do I? I have some Esterbrook pens, I have some Lamy pens. Let me know if that's something that you want to see more in the future, and if you felt like you missed something major in this comparison, please let me know as well. Oh, reverse writing. Let's do that last, and then I'll let you go. 14K reverse is barely legible. 21K. It works. It probably would work better with a more saturated ink. This one I think would not work. This one I think would. And then let's try this one. And then I will have to go in with a loop, because I do think that there's something wrong. This one doesn't seem to work. 21K reverse. Well, it does. All right. That's it for me. I hope this was informative. I hope you enjoyed looking at this nib comparison with me. I have made a choice now and I can move forward. That was weighing on my mind, like, do I keep this? Do I not? What am I going to do? Let me know your thoughts. If you think that, again, that I missed something, let me know as well. If you're on the hunt for a sailor, check out Atlas Stationers. The discount, the affiliate discount doesn't work, but if you use my link that I will put in the description box below, then I will still get the affiliate payout, which helps this channel grow. I am going to sell these pens. If you're interested, please let me know in the comments down below and we'll chat further with email. Yeah, I will see you in another video soon. Until then, bye.